The cockpits are comparatively large and conventional by the standards of the period, but well filled with displays and controls. The crew members sit on Martin Baker Mark V ejector seats. These are designed for safe ejections at 0 feet and speeds down to 150 miles per hour, and are generally triggered by pulling the overhead handle for the blind that protects the firer's face during ejection. Mach 2 performance is aided by the two fully variable ramp inlets for the J-79 engines. A splitter plate diverts the boundary layer of slow-moving air close to the fuselage, and the inlet ramp jackknifes out at speeds over Mach 1.4 to control the shock wave pattern, keeping these waves out of the inlet and maintaining an even flow of air at the face of the engine. This system is fully automatic, being controlled by the aircraft's air data computer. Navy and Air Force Phantoms generally have different tires. Both types are of the same diameter. But pictured here on the left is the broader Air Force tire, which offers greater touchdown area and is thus inflated to the lower pressures suitable for operations on the longer runways available to land-based aircraft. Located on the port side of the fuselage is a pneumatically extended ram air turbine for the generation of emergency power to maintain essential systems in the event of engine failure. Down to a speed of 225 miles per hour, the turbine provides electrical power, thereafter switching to hydraulic power for the landing systems. The centerline hardpoint for stores carriage is supplemented by 4 substantial pylons under the wings. On the leading edges of the wings are 3 section slats to maintain an even flow of air over the wings and reduce stalling speed. The key to this feature is boundary layer control, using air tapped from the engine compressor and then vented through the slots, here being checked. This is one of the 2 trailing edge flaps, which are also fitted with boundary layer control. As on the leading edge system, these slots blow air tapped from the engines over the upper surface of the flap. The blowing of the flaps is designed to control the airflow and so maximize the effect of these fairly small surfaces. The flaps can be depressed a maximum of 60 degrees. This full flap setting being used for landing and a half flap setting for takeoff. Lateral control is entrusted to a combination of spoilers and ailerons, the former being used at high air speeds and the latter at low air speeds. The underside of each wing sports a hydraulically operated speed brake. These are designed to provide rapid deceleration at speeds down from Mach 2.4 at any flight attitude without buffet or change in pitch trim. Landings can be made perfectly safely with the speed brakes extended, though at low speeds the effect of these surfaces is small. The vertical tail is long and low to ease the problem of headroom in the hangar deck of U.S. carriers, and has a powered rudder for yaw control. Under the powered rudder is the vent for the complex of 6 fuel tanks located in the fuselage. The slab tailplane halves ensure full pitch control under all flight conditions, and are angled down at 23 degrees to improve directional control by increasing the effective side area of the rear fuselage. Between the J-79 tailpipes is the arrestor hook, normally stowed under the rear fuselage fairing, but lowered for carrier landings. The hook is retained on land-based Phantoms and has proved valuable for short landings on runways fitted with the appropriate arrestor gear. The hook is made of a special high-strength alloy to cater for the very high forces generated in an arrested landing. Heat resistance in the rear fuselage is promoted by use of stainless steel and titanium and the use of ram air cooling. At the extreme tail is the compartment for the 16-foot braking parachute required to shorten landings on ordinary runways. The hole in the tail provides an exit for the cooling air deliberately drawn into the rear fuselage structure above the exhaust of the engines. The Phantom has always been noted for its singular appearance. One of these distinctive features is the power folding of the outer portion of each wing, normally angled up at 12 degrees. This folding system is designed to reduce the Phantom's width for movement on carrier decks and elevators. The feature is retained on land-based Phantoms and has proved useful in the field. With the wing folded, you can see the internal plumbing for the boundary layer control system. The large nose radome provides accommodation for the 32-inch diameter antenna of the APQ-72 main radar. Under the nose is the fairing for the infrared scanner, which was provided for backup target acquisition capability in the event of the main radar being jammed or otherwise failing. The Phantom became operational with the U.S. Navy in 1961, and squadrons were rapidly converted from older types to equip the Navy's powerful carrier force. This section shows the major elements of carrier-borne operations. The aircraft on the USS Forrestal being F-4Bs of Fighter Squadron 74, which was the Atlantic Fleet's first Phantom unit and otherwise known as the Bedevilers. Each mission is preceded by a careful briefing, and the flight crews then don survival equipment over their flight suits. On the command of flight operations, the crews then proceed to their aircraft. Meanwhile, the deck crews, each wearing different colored vests for identification, have been finishing their preparations for the launch of the mission. The pilot completes his walk-round check of the aircraft. Then he and his radar officer board the Phantom. Launch weight is chalked up for the catapult officer's attention. The fleet defense role requires the pilot to fly the aircraft and control any combat, while the radar intercept officer operates the radar and controls the early stages of any interception. The two cockpit canopies are closed, and the deck crew brings up the catapult bridle. The flight deck director positions each aircraft over its designated catapult, and the aircraft is eased over the shuttle onto the rear section of the catapult. The bridle is then attached, and any slack in the bridle is taken up by edging the catapult shuttle forward a little. The companion Phantom on the second catapult goes through exactly the same preparation.